It's a great day for golf.
It sure is, and it's even better at my favorite golf course, Sailfish Sands.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
We'll take the honors, Don.
Thanks.
Great shot. Your game has greatly improved.
Well, thank you. I've been spending time here at Sailfish Sands.
Is that so? Would you like to make the game a bit more interesting?
I think I'd really like to. How about if the loser has to...
It's a tight game.
The math checks out.
That's it then. 18th hole for all the marbles.
Yeah! Nice shot, Don.
It went right into a tree.
Ooh, that's deep in the rough. Do you want to take a mulligan?
Nope, I know this course. Let's play it where it lies.
I think we may be a bit off course. This is Maggie's Hammock Park.
This is Maggie's Hammock Park, one of my favorite parks in all of Martin County. This consists of two of the most rare and endangered habitats in all of South Florida. The tropical maritime hardwood hammock to the east, and to the west is the scrub preserve. And also, if you're lucky, you might encounter one of our favorite residents here, the gopher tortoise.
Yeah, Commissioner, it's a great park, but you're still way off course.
Don't worry, George. I told you I know this course. Thanks.
Great shot, Commissioner, but isn't Sailfish Sands Golf Course that way?
It is. We'll just have to play it through and hope for the best. Charlie Layton Park is great, George. It's popular with kayakers and rowers and fishermen and boaters.
I agree, Commissioner. Charlie Park is great, but we're even further away from Sailfish Sands than ever before.
Not for long, George. Please hand me my gap wedge. Thank you.
Is that a legal shot?
We play it where it lies, George. I love the views here at Indian Riverside Park,
Yeah, it's a really cool park. You've got the splash pad and Tuckahoe Mansion.
but my favorites are the boardwalk and the beach.
Bunker. Wow, you really got a hold of that one. What a doozy. Maybe a little too much.
Maybe, but we are getting closer. Hello?
Commissioner Hurd, everything okay? We just finished at the 18th hole. You want to call it quits?
No, not when we're this close. Wait a minute, did you just say that you're on the 18th green?
Yes, I'm on the green right now, right next to the cup.
Excellent. In that case, stay right there. We'll be right there.
Nice shot, Commissioner. How about we go check out the butterfly garden?
Oh, I'd love to, George, but we really need to get back to Sailfish Sands.
Okay.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you very much, Martin County, for allowing me to exercise my acting chops for you this morning. We're always looking for ways to pay for our budget, so this film allowed us to create two new unique ways to raise money. I decided that we could auction off a couple things from the film this morning. The first is a blooper reel, which, as you can imagine, is fantastic. Bids will start at $1 million. And the real treasure is, of course, George Stokas's white coveralls, which George refers to as his onesie. Martha Ann from the MCTV ironed on the letters HEARD and affixed it to the back of his onesie. And by the third day of filming, all that was left was ear. And also, I just took up golf about a year and a half ago. I'd never swung a golf club, which, as you witnessed, is not hard for anybody to believe. And as terrible a golfer as I am, and I'm terrible, I never am discouraged by the game of golf. I'm always grateful for every minute that I spend on the golf course is a minute that I'm not in a meeting, that my nose isn't in a computer or in a book. I never fail to appreciate the wonder and the beauty of nature, so some unsolicited advice for any of you here: take up golf. And with that, I would like to welcome Don Donaldson to show us the rest of how the county is doing. Thank you.
Commissioner Hurd, before you leave, just stay right there. I have a trophy for you for your victory.
Thank you.
And when you want to collect on that bet, you let me know.
Thank you.
Well, welcome everybody, and it's a great turnout. We were all interested to see the video this morning. Commissioner Hurd and everybody did a great job, and thank you for the staff for putting that all together. So, well, anyway, thanks for joining us today. It's an honor to present the 2024 State of the County Address. What we do would not be possible without direction from the Board of County Commissioners, commitment of our constitutional officers, and the effort and energy from our talented staff. We all work together with a shared goal of building a healthy community. Anyway, this morning I wanted to share some insights into county-managed services and projects that had a profound impact on our community this past year. Staff's efforts in putting the board's priorities into action has cultivated a sense of community, prioritizes public safety, protects paradise, and govern responsibility to enrich the quality of life. Our staff aren't just employees, they are passionate individuals who care deeply about this community, whether they are maintaining our parks, responding to emergencies, planning for a sustainable future, or providing essential services. They do it with pride, commitment, and a genuine love for the work they do. So let's look at some highlights of our staff cultivating a sense of community, and I think you'll see why we're excited to celebrate these here today.
A strong community is one that supports and uplifts every individual and recognizes the unique needs of all residents. In 2024, the Martin County Library Systems expanded their services by introducing sensory bags throughout the library system.
Sensory bags are intended to support our neurodivergent population and anybody who experiences sensory processing differences. And neurodivergent is just an umbrella term that encompasses anybody whose brain processes information differently. So the sensory bags have a couple things in them. They have headphones to help mitigate like noise in the library. People don't always think the library is loud, but it can be, especially in the children's department. It also has a weighted blanket in it, which is helps with security, so you can put it around your shoulders or on your lap. It has communication cards. So if you're having such a hard time that you can't verbally speak to staff, you can use the communication cards to communicate with us. And then it also has a couple different fidget tools. So when you're in all 6 library branches, if you're ever feeling like there's too much light or too much noise, or kind of have a lot of energy going on, you can go to any of the front desk or children's desks and ask for the sensory bag. They're going to ask for your library card. They'll check it out to you, and you can use it as long as you're in the library.
This innovative program, part of the library system's long-range service plan, isn't just a bag of helpful items. It's also about training the staff to help the people who need the assistance.
By early 2025, all county library staff and volunteers will be trained in sensory inclusivity. So that training is giving our staff and our volunteers language on how to help somebody through kind of an emotionally difficult time. It's just to be able to kind of get them back into a center where they're focused and grounded, because sometimes when you have sensory overload, everything is just too much and you can't really explain or communicate very well. So this is just a way for staff to be able to communicate better with our patrons.
And sitting just north of the Blake Library is the Martin County Administration Building, where our dedicated Veteran Services team provides personalized, compassionate support to local veterans.
As a proud Air Force veteran, my role as a Veteran Service Officer for Martin County is not just a job, it's a mission. It's meaningful work that allows me to assist my fellow veterans in navigating the often complicated process of filing for benefits. Working here means that I can ensure that those who served our country are taken care of.
You know, it's a great example. Our library department, Jen Salas and her team do a really great job. And this past year, we had one of our employees retire, our Sylvie, and she really gave a great speech at the podium to the commissioners. And one of the things she talked about is what libraries do and how they've changed over time. And, you know, it's not just about checking out books. And she went through a long list of the things they do to provide the service. And you know, one of the things that's really happened throughout our lifetime is the transformation of communication and how we get information and input it. And so a lot of what they do are helping residents actually interact with that, you know, with the internet, how to fill out forms, an online form that appears to be fillable but may not be. And so they help people with tax returns, you know, researching on how to, you know, a member who may have had a cancer diagnosis to learn more about that, or how to research, you know, what doctors have great recommendations in the area. Anyway, they do that and so much more, and that's one of the reasons why they were the department that I chose to enter in the foray of artificial intelligence. So they're using that now so that you can get information when we're not open and assist with things. In addition, if you look at other areas, cultivating community, Michelle Miller and her team and our human resource group does a lot of prevention work. They work on events like cooking classes, bowling nights, families dinners to help educate families to help their kids divert, you know, the dangers of drug and alcohol. And then on the other side of things, when people, due to unfortunate circumstances, succumb to that, they also work on the other side with our law enforcement and the court system. Judge Waters, who we have a drug court, and one of the things they do is to, instead of going to jail, they divert and help people get reintegrated back into the workforce. And so those are some of the things I think we should be really proud of on how we're always working to both help prevent and helping those in needs. And then finally, just from part of our veteran services, which we have a great reputation in that area, we served over 16,000 local veterans last year, 872 claims, and helped regain over $5 million in claims that had gone uncollected. So that was just in this past year alone. So I think it's great. It's easy to see we take our job seriously, and governing responsibly is also critical to the work we do. So now we have, we're going to transition to how effectively you manage your tax dollars. And so let's take a look at a video on governing responsibly.
Local governments face the challenge of balancing immediate needs with long-term growth. That's where strategic legislation, responsible budgeting, and a well-structured capital improvement plan come into play.
So budget and capital improvement correlate together. Budget, when we talk budget, we're thinking the overall county budget. Capital improvement plan is a portion of the county's overall budget. So capital improvement plans are overall infrastructure here in Martin County. So this includes road resurfacing, new public facilities, stormwater infrastructure, ecosystem management, coastal, all of our inlets and beaches are managed in the capital improvement plan, as well as fire rescue equipment. The Office of Management and Budget is responsible for overseeing the county's grant management policy and procedures. This includes following all federal and state regulations and statutes. So we want to make sure that everyone's following federal and state regulations and statutes, as well as county policies that we have in place.
But turning vision into reality takes more than good ideas. It takes funding. The more money received through grants means fewer ad valorem dollars spent. And with Florida only having a 60-day legislative session each year, it takes a skilled and determined staff to ensure Martin County can effectively invest in infrastructure, public services, and community development.
As a legislative coordinator, I'm the middle person between the board and our delegation in Tallahassee and DC, as well as our lobbying team. A staff member or a board member will identify projects that we can seek state funding for. And part of my job is to file those with our delegation members, and then they file appropriations projects, and that's how we get state funding for those. So this past session, we got 3 projects funded in the budget: the Martin County Sheriff's Office Mental Health Pod, the Bessie Creek Retrofit, and Petway Potable Water Project. So those were 3 individual line items in the budget that we have just for those 3 projects.
We'll take all the applause we can get. But in terms of governing responsibly, I think in the opening slide there was a picture of Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart and our chair, Hurd, and myself. And that's just really indicative of hard work that all of our commissioners over the years have put into working with our delegation. Of course, Brian Mass is critical in that link, and our Senator Scott and now Moody, and of course our local delegation with Gail Harrell and John Snyder and Toby Overdorf. So it is a team effort to get that done. And I think one of the examples of what happened, and I've said this a couple of times, you may have heard me talk about the trip in December where staff was at a ecosystem restoration task force with our chair, and it happened to be a challenge with getting an item in the WRDA bill. And I won't belabor the details, but nonetheless, their efforts, along with some others, got an element in SERP that was critical to get into this WRDA bill that will allow some Northern Everglades projects that are critical to our water getting here, stopping the water and cleaning up the water before it gets here. Had it not been in there, it would take 2 more years before it could be considered, and given the nature of things, may not have. So those are just, and again, other examples of that team effort is like in the grants. So all of that effort working with our state and federal partners. Currently, we have about $85 million in state and federal grants that we're managing through our budget office. And that too, in order, one thing is to get the grant, the other is to actually spend the money and then to survive the audit so they don't take it back. So, so that, I'm really proud of our team, and our clerk, Carolyn Timman, works with us on that. So we do get clean audits. We do get to keep our money. And then sometimes on some of our past storms, we get more than we asked for because we found some errors the feds made. So those are some really great examples of our staff and working together. Another area is our general services in terms of governing responsibly and looking how we use energy. This past year, working with one of our contracted partners, Trane, we installed a system that makes ice in the middle of the night when it's cooler and electricity is cheaper. And then during the day, as it's melting, it cools the building. And the energy savings for that actually helped in the construction and the financing of it. And so those are some really valuable techniques that Martin County has used over the years in energy saving. And then some smaller things like fleet maintenance. You know, we auction off the vehicles that we at the end of their life, and we generated over $300,000 to come back in to assist us in building to buying more vehicles. And then the last area I want to talk about under governing responsibility kind of goes to Martin County's core, and that is in 1982, our comp plan created about preserving wetlands. And private development has to preserve those in the guidance that we call a preserve area management plan. And in 1990, we included uplands in that. And so today we have 12,300 acres under private management under these preserve area management plans. And our staff are responsible for, one, identifying before the development gets done, so they get in there, and then periodically inspecting and ensure they're staying in compliance. But that does fit in with the landscape of Martin County having green space, not only publicly owned, but also privately owned to keep that, to keep our quality of life. So at this point, we're going to talk about a key part of our commitment to ensuring the safety. So we're going to transition to safety and ensuring the residents, businesses, visitors, and prioritizing public safety is at our forefront. So let's take a look at video on public safety.
Public safety doesn't happen by chance, and keeping our community safe is something Martin County cares about deeply. One area where safety is especially critical is along our coastline. With ever-changing tides and unpredictable conditions, our ocean rescue team undergoes rigorous training and education to ensure they're always ready to respond and keep the public safe on the beaches and in the water.
Ocean Rescue, we make up 25 total full-time employees, 19 of which are lifeguards. Most of our lifeguards are EMTs. And then we also have a few paramedics on staff as well. So our training is incredibly important in that manner. Our lifeguards, we have a training hour from 9 to 10 o'clock every morning. And each week, our lifeguards have a group training or an organized training. And that can be a number of different training opportunities for our lifeguards to hone their skills. The time that we're here, we make preventative measures. What we call them prevents, for short. A prevent, it can be something as simple as educating the public about certain ordinances that we have at our public beaches. We want our water rescue numbers to go down. What we've trained our lifeguards to do is identify those potential hazards of beach patrons that come out on the beach and address that early and often. That way we can survey our area and protect the public.
But it's not just Ocean Rescue making sure their staff is prepared. HR's risk management team is tasked with keeping all of the county's employees educated in workplace safety.
What we do typically at HR and Risk is we take into account the different accidents, different incidents that happen throughout Martin County. We try and get a proactive approach to it with doing different classes. Every year I train about 300 people in the field on personal and public safety.
And training doesn't end just because a class is complete.
So after the CPR training is done, I add you to my master list. What I do is I walk around with a mannequin. I will drop the mannequin in front of you. You go through the process. You pretend to call 911. You do start CPR, maybe have somebody go and get the AED, but treat it as a real situation. Hopefully you just jump into action without thinking. It's more muscle memory.
Whether it's better emergency response, reliable preparedness, or community outreach programs, public safety is a team effort.
As you can see from that video, prevention is a big part of what we do in all of our programs. And Ocean Rescue, it's so important because we have visitors that come in all the time that aren't familiar with our coastline, and new residents of the dangers of both our high surf conditions and some of the critters that you might encounter, that jellyfish and other things that you need to be aware of. And then also, I think on our safety on the spot, our staff created an award program for individuals who, either staff members or supervisors, can can sponsor their coworker for a Safety on the Spot award. And so throughout the year, we get various nominees, and we celebrate those that have done the right thing in preventing injuries and demonstrating a workflow that benefits us all. And periodically, we submit the best of those to competition through the Safety Council in Palm Beach. And there's an award ceremony every year. And I'm always impressed that the Martin County Safety Awards winners are, to me, the best of the group. They demonstrate a really high degree of professionalism, and the awards we often get the best of all those awards given. But last year was also pretty significant in terms of public safety on a few things I want to talk about. In fire rescue in our sheriff department, but we had 3 events that were truly career events for a lot of these professionals. And the first one I want to talk about is a Florida Power and Light turbine fire. And that was a significant event in that, there was an explosion. There were some employees injured. Our staff had to go in and pull them out. There was a time where it was uncertain on how this fire was going to develop. And talking to our chief, Chad Chinchilli, who is a man of many words, as you know, I'm being facetious. So, and it was like, 2 minutes, I'm on it, and so I started talking to our Sheriff, John Budenseek, who was really great, and it showed the collaboration really between our efforts on. And while Chad is busy working on what to do with the event, John and I were strategizing on the Plan B and C and D scenarios should something else happen. And then I got the conversation with Chad. He had his hazmat team there, and they had figured out, they knew what they needed to do, because there were some materials within that building that they did not want to get hot or expand the event. And then next thing you know, it's like, we have the plan, we're on it. I had all the confidence, we're going in, and then 15 minutes later, they had it under control. So that was really, really cool. There's a lot more to that story, a lot of stories from the men and women that were there that saw some of their coworkers that disappeared behind walls of flame. They weren't sure how they were going to be. So again, but then not long after that, we had the Stewart West and Cobblestone wildfire, and some of those same crew members that were on that were there. And then that collaboration was with our forestry. And the crews did a great job of preventing any fire from threatening the homes in that area. It certainly got close. And then they had to work 24 hours a day until all the smoldering fire was gone. And just when we thought that was enough for a year of public safety, we have Hurricane Milton that comes to our door. And of course, we are in the process of thinking, all right, we're not under a hurricane watch or warning, and it's not likely to be the major rain or wind event, but we did have this warning there may be some tornadoes. And then once the alarm started going, it became an all hands on deck, and every apparatus was being deployed. To the point that we appreciate our City of Stewart firefighters who had to help assist us. We couldn't help our neighbors who also were asking for help at the time. And it was significant. Over 400 structures impacted, 21 homes destroyed. And then you had the challenge of afterwards of, hey, is everybody out of those buildings? You always get from the neighbor and everybody else, hey, I don't think anybody's there, but you don't know. So Chad and his team, working with other state officials to actually tunnel through all that debris over the next day to ensure that there wasn't a caretaker or an animal or anything else left behind. And that's just the kind of things that they do. That's what they have to do, and that. But the sad part is that we had 27 homes destroyed, and some of those were insured, some are partially insured, and some were not insured at all. And so from the, what FEMA calls community assistance side, the cleaning up of debris, the fixing of roads and bridges and public buildings, that event was really small. And we are very good at that. the public individual assistance piece of it is something that, for me, I was not an expert on, and learning more about it. But sadly, that's the challenge. The challenge is when you have renters, uninsured people that are hit hard in a community, is how do you keep them there? And I think that's something we can do a better job of. You know, the New Monrovia and the communities of Mariner Sands and the Preserve, Mariner Village, Rocky Point, Manatee. I mean, you had a combination even in these nicer homes, people that were uninsured. So I think that's something moving forward, that working, you know, the best thing about Martin County and our success in dealing with those areas right now is really our nonprofits and, you know, our emergency management team, our Health and Human Services group, all of our nonprofits are really is what keeping that community together. The philanthropy here is really what makes the difference in Martin County, because the FEMA rules and the FEMA pieces, to actually, it's often minimal. How you get a loan is difficult under an SBA loan. And like so many things, if you have money, you can get money. And if you don't, it's very difficult. So I think you should be really proud of our nonprofits and everybody that are finding ways to help people in those communities rebuild. And there's still a long way to go there. So anyway, I think you should still be proud of all the things that were accomplished. But it was a big year in public safety. And that it is truly, some of those were career events, and we don't have to deal with that again shortly. So now let's explore our staff. You know, they work tirelessly to enrich the quality of life in our community, and they're making a lasting impact every day. So let's look at a video about enriching the quality of life.
Known for its stunning parks, relaxed coastal lifestyle, and strong sense of community, Martin County offers a rare blend of natural beauty with cultural enrichment. One of the county's greatest offerings is the many rural parks, where residents and visitors can enjoy outdoor activities among the lush, serene landscapes. In 2024, Hawks Hammocks benefited from some new user-friendly upgrades.
Welcome to Hawks Hammock Preserve. It's a 434-acre preserve managed by the Environmental Resource Division. Within the reserve, there's 4.5 miles of hiking, equestrian use, there's fishing. So this was actually a project taken on by the Environmental Resource Division for public access. This parking lot was just created. It features some trailer parking for your equestrian use, so that folks can come in here nice and easy, one way in, one way out, as well as there's additional parking for pedestrian use, as well as we have our Cheeky Hut that can be used for picnics and or just catch some shade during the summer. It's easily accessible through Southwest Green Farms Lane. Since the opening of this new access for folks, we've seen a large increase of use. This includes equestrian, pedestrian. We've had some birding groups, and we've actually even had some orchid groups that come out here that help us out with some of our orchid plantings and as well as inventory.
In addition to its natural spaces, Martin County celebrates the arts through the Community Redevelopment Agency and its partnership with the Arts in Public Places program. And in 2024, they completed several projects that showcase local creativity and bring a unique cultural flair in the continuing effort to revitalize our county.
So the patio at Palm City Place really marks a significant milestone in the ongoing effort to revitalize and enrich the Palm City community. So this is really a perfect example of a CRA project. It's a beautiful amenity that fosters community, walkability, while it increases the bottom line of the businesses that were here. Everybody flourishes, and you can see it happening all up and down Map Road. We already know that this project is a huge success. It's insanely popular with residents. There are people here every single day walking, doing yoga, just enjoying sitting and looking at the STA. We have lots of future plans. We're going to be putting some new benches on the walking paths. We've got maybe some music offerings to come, and who knows, maybe even a little public art.
A couple other projects, though, just to mention in terms of that we completed last year. Sanskrit Park was an important resilience and improvement project for our boating community and marine industries. And it's also a good example where, the facility would get flooded during king tides at times and needed to be refurbished. We'd rebuilt a boat ramp, and of course, after opening, there were some trailers that were impacting a transition in grade. And I will say that at least we recognized that, we got it fixed, and now it's fully operational as intended. In addition, in that area, we did the Manatee Pocket Mooring Field opened up, and that was a means to organize the mooring that's occurring in the Manatee Pocket that has we had a random boats mooring. Sometimes they break loose and run into waterfront property. So this is a great way to organize that. We have bathroom facilities, temporary. Now the new ones are under construction. And then as a part of that, or it's not really a part of it, we've done for a number of years. It's really unique, I think, to Martin County. And that is our utilities department operates a vessel to remove waste out, pump outs of boats for free. And of course, the name of the vessel is the MS Poop. And so she'll drive around any boat that needs to be pumped out for free and do that. So it's a great service. It's also obviously for environmental reasons. It helps protect our waterways, makes it convenient for the boaters so that they won't overfill their tanks or do things like that. And so it moves around the county, and I think it's a great, it's a typical Martin Countyism that we are out in front of doing the right thing and making it affordable for those and easily accessible to make it convenient. So now we're going to shift to protecting paradise. It's something our residents, local businesses, visitors, and legislative delegates are all passionate about. So let's check out some innovative projects designed to protect and preserve our little slice of heaven for today, tomorrow, and the future.
In Martin County's quest to protect the environment, nature has offered a blueprint for renewal. Working with several Martin County departments and private sector partners, the CRA, along with artist Lucy Cachavars, finalized the Stormwater Eco Art project in 2024.
Ripple, as a drop of water becomes a river, is a stormwater eco art project located within a 20-acre drainage basin in Palm City. The main objective of the project is to capture and reduce stormwater runoff into our St. Lucie estuary. So Ripple combines environmental sustainability with public art aspects. There's 4 main sites to the project. Site 1 is a wetland site which has a trail throughout with educational pieces. Site 2 is the bioswale site which has a pavilion as well as a rainwater harvest system. Site 3 is a wet retention pond. We have a pavilion and pier. Site 4, you'll see the dry detention area along with our natural walking path. That area is where the stormwater goes before it discharges into our St. Lucie estuary.
And while every drop that passes through the ripple helps to clean our waterways, more work is needed to ensure a healthy estuary and coastal system.
In 2024, when we were actually able to start doing some seagrass plantings, we were able to put in about 10 acres in about 5 different spots around the estuary. And then probably the most exciting thing was the partnership with UF on developing a strip spawning technique for lucernid clams that naturally occur here so that we can create a large population of lucernid clams to put out with seagrass restoration for the most productive root growth in those meadows.
But as good as nature is at healing itself, there are times when it needs some assistance to fix a problem.
One of our biggest challenges when managing preserves such as this is the eradication or infestations of non-native invasive plants. Here at this specific area, we had a dense infestation of a shrub called downy rose myrtle. It's a non-native invasive plant, and it had formed a really thick, dense monoculture in this whole area to the point where no herbaceous plants could grow underneath it. What we had done is we did what we call mechanical vegetation treatment, where we have machinery physically come in and shred these thick, dense shrubs down. And so what this has done is opened up this area. It has allowed sunlight to shine through. And what you see now are native herbaceous plants growing up. This is also going to do is allow for prescribed fire to be introduced into this area, which will mimic natural lightning strikes. And this is going to benefit not only the native ecosystems, wildlife and plants, but also mitigate for wildfire risk in the future.
Through these innovations and nature-based solutions, Martin County is creating a future where our environment thrives as a sustainable legacy for the generations to come.
One of the things I like about this video is it ties in 3 different areas of our ecosystems. And Stefan in the voice in the video mentioned nature's blueprint for restoration. And that's one of the things our staff really employs. And those 3 types of projects are sort of the one is in the urban area. We have urban infill for development. We also have urban enhancement for stormwater and environmental restoration, which is often a real challenge. But you can see, like in the patio project, or you take an STA that we put in that was also for water quality and flood protection, and with some tweaking and some human amenities, sidewalks, and some native landscaping, you really can transform an area. And then when you add the patio in, it actually becomes part of your economic development too. So those are, I think, some of the innovative things that I think we're doing in the Ripple project, is really taking our sense of a one-task project. We just trying to do stormwater water quality improvement, to tying it with all of the other things that really make it a positive addition to our community. And so we completed a project last year also, East Fork Creek near Point Siena Gardens, over 21 acres. And that's going to provide opportunities in that area in the future to augment it with whether it's a public access and augmentation. And I also want to talk a little bit about the seagrass restoration. We're always concerned about the discharges and whether it's killing seagrasses or oysters, and then we'd go through a period of restoration. And sometimes it takes 10 years for these ecosystems to come back. But I think the challenge of what we've been trying to do is that when we can, to reseed, to repopulate these areas, and to get them back in a few years instead of 10 years. We're working on the overall with our feds to get the discharges from the Lake Okeechobee from stopping, but until that is done, we're still going to have these events. And I think the one thing you look at that seagrass project, which I think is really cool, the Lucenid Cam idea, is about there are other elements within the seagrass that it needs to thrive, and just planting grass alone may not be what's necessary. So our staff came up with this idea to look at this clam, working with agencies and on university to the design. And then we're really fortunate to have our Florida Oceanographic Society here, and we have a guy that can actually breed clams and breed oysters, and it's a really cool site. It's super high tech, low tech, so it's sort of like poles and screening over top of tanks, but underneath is a lot of really high tech activity. And so taking those opportunities to basically do a project that to me would be occurring on either a national government level or certainly PhD scientists at universities. We're just doing it right here in our own town and really advancing the science of seagrass restoration for our own selfish benefit, which is what it's all about. So, and when you put all those together, then you have Narissa and her team who take advantage of all these improved ecosystems, and they they title it ecotourism. And so they have all these really cool ecotourism activities where you can go into our upland natural areas on hikes, turtle watching, kayaking in the river, and so many other things. And it's award-winning. We have the Leave No Trace program. They also have a program that is geared towards those with disabilities and which parks and how they can get around, which is also award-winning. So it really ties it all together. It's pretty amazing for me, just to kind of try to steer the ship or help the commissioners get done what they want. It's really to me, the directors and their staff make it all happen, and I certainly. My staff of George and Matt and Kim really help me make it happen. But in the end, it's really all the rest of the staff that do such a great job. So, With that, you have an annual report in front of you that reflects our commitment to transparency, accountability, and service to our community. For nearly 100 years, our county has been shaped by hardworking residents, dedicated businesses, and local government committed to service. This past year has been no exception. Their dedication goes far beyond the job description. They work long hours during storms to ensure public safety, go the extra mile to assist residents, and bring innovative solutions to improve the services we provide. And many of our staff don't just work here, they live here. They raise their families here and take pride in making Martin County the best it can be. Over the past year, we have made significant improvements in our public works, economic development, and environmental preservation. Our roads and facilities connect us. Our emergency management first responders keep us safe, and our local businesses are thriving. I think sometimes people look at government simply as an organization that governs the community. You know, I've heard the saying, Martin County, it's different here. Because we are. We are so much more. And it's reflected in our reports and the presentation today. We're more than a local government, an organization and a system that governs. It takes all of our staff, all of us in this room. Every person plays a role in serving our residents and visitors. Thanks for being a part of that and a part of our community. In closing, I'd like to leave you with this last thought. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Live where you live, work where you work. Let this inspire you to fulfilling your passion and empowering us to achieve our shared vision. As we celebrate our centennial this year, we have the unique opportunity not only to honor our history, but also look ahead to the future of Martin County. Together, we'll ensure Martin County continues to be a place where we are happy to call home. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Thank you for allowing us to serve you, and thank you for supporting the staff and the half-cent sales tax for lands and water quality. This will help us, yes. This will help us keep that vision that Martin County has a human population, but is mostly green. So here's to our past, present, and a bright future ahead. Thank you. You're too kind.